Thomas Morstead, who is a longtime NFL punter. He won the Super Bowl in 2009. He's now been punting for the Jets. This year is going to donate $1,000 for every punt that he sticks inside the 20-yard line, and is calling it his Punt for ALS campaign to help raise awareness for that horrible disease that has gripped his fellow former New Orleans Saint, dear friend and mentor, Steve Gleason, since 2011. I assume pretty much everyone is aware of the plight and the fight of Steve Gleason. You may not have been aware until now that Thomas Morstead is actually going to do something about it this year, and he's good enough to join us here on ESPN Radio, and I can see him on the television wearing a Team Gleason T-shirt. Thomas, thank you for taking a few minutes here. What made you decide that this was something you wanted to be a part of your season?
Hey, Greeny, thanks for having me. This is really, really cool of you to do. I think at the most human level, I just wanted to do something to thank Steve. You know, a lot of people tap out. ALS is a horrible disease, and I just wanted to do something to encourage him. You know, he's encouraged so many people. He's inspired so many people. And I just thought, who's encouraging him? Who's inspiring him? And so it's just something I could do personally to tell him thank you for everything he's done for so many people, and personally for the perspective that he's put into my life. It's tough to have a bad day when you think about what he has to deal with every day, you know, and it's really been a blessing, him continue to fight this thing. And he's doing so much good for so many other people that are stricken with the disease, and for the families that have to deal with it as well. So I just wanted to do something special to thank him.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you were doing it. It's something that was sort of in all of our consciousness when Steve McMichael went into the Hall of Fame this past summer as well. Steve is also someone I covered in his Chicago Bears days back in the 90s, who has also been fighting ALS and was not able to be there at the Hall of Fame ceremony, but went into the Hall of Fame, and it was a wonderful moment for his family and for everyone else involved. And again, Steve Gleason has probably done as much to raise awareness and to help combat this dreaded disease as anyone who is currently in our climate. And if you would like more information or to donate, you can visit Team Gleason, which is spelled GLEASON.org/punt for ALS. And again, Thomas Morstead is going to donate $1,000 for every punt inside the 20-yard line this season, of which I, Thomas, as an unabashed Jets fan, I'm hoping there will be a lot. I'm hoping that this raises a lot of money, because I hope that you and all the rest of the players have an outstanding season. And so I would be remiss if, while having you here, I did not take the opportunity to just ask a few questions as you get through a training camp and start another season. You know, the Aaron Rodgers, the specter of him hanging over everything. You know, last year there was this air of incredible excitement and anticipation going into the season, and we all saw how horribly wrong it went, unfortunately, on the very first drive of the season. How would you describe the mood and the state of everybody, and particularly as regards, you know, Aaron Rodgers being there as the team leader as we head back into this season now, opening Monday night in San Francisco?
Look, it's exciting. Last year was just, you know, you couldn't write a script how last year started. I mean, it was horrible. So much excitement, expectation, and so just personally for him, just such a hard deal to go through. Anyhow, it's just, we're all excited. You know, obviously there's a ton of expectation again this year, but it's not just him, though. You know, we've got a bunch of leaders on this team. That team easily could have tanked into winning 3 games last year. And I know some of the fans didn't appreciate us winning late in the season because of draft spots. But we've got a bunch of guys. We've got a good culture. And we're in the business of winning. That's all that matters. And guys stuck together. It's not a moral victory, but I think a lot of guys showed who they are. I'm hopeful that we'll get the opposite side of the health luck this year, and keep guys healthy, and hopefully that evens out for us, and we'll see what happens.
One other thing I'd be curious to ask, and again, Thomas Morstead of the Jets is with us, and by far the most important part of this conversation is what we began with. But the Jets, your team opens with a really, really difficult schedule geographically and time-wise. For those who've not followed this, the Jets open Monday night on the road in San Francisco. The long trip back to New York for a Sunday afternoon home game against Tennessee, and then the quick turnaround to a Thursday night game against New England. I'm just interested to hear, and I'd guess a lot of the fans were, what does the schedule look like during that? It is a very unusual occurrence for an NFL team to play 3 games in that stretch of time, particularly one of them that involves cross-country travel. How will those, 10, 12 days be different than a normal stretch of an NFL regular season schedule?
The routine will just be different, right? We won't really even have much of a tight routine this year. I mean, I don't think we don't have similar weeks back to back until December this year. That's how many primetime Thursday, Monday, Sunday nights we have. So, that's a good thing. That means people are going to be excited to watch us. The league, I think, is expecting us to be a good team and an exciting team to watch. So I don't know. I'd put all those things up there. They're just the reality of our situation. But, if you're looking at those sound like excuses to me. I'm not saying you're making them, but it's just the schedule we got. So it is what it is. And it's our job and coach's job to, give us the best schedule as far as rest and recovery and all those things go together. So I'm sure we'll figure it out. Every team has difficult stretches throughout the season. And, it's exciting to be playing Monday night in San Francisco. That'll be an immediate big-time test against a perennial contender on the road. Can't wait. Just super excited about it.
No, I think it's great. And I love the way that you're approaching that, and I assume the entire team is approaching it. Okay, I want to mention one more time while we had Thomas Morstead with us today. He's going to donate $1,000 for every punt inside the 20-yard line this year. For more information, you can go to teamgleason.org/punt for ALS. And to drive home the point here, I was in the building on the night that this play took place. So the city of New Orleans, as we will all recall, went through one of the most horrendous events that we've seen happen in our United States in my lifetime. And that, of course, was Hurricane Katrina, which ravaged that city. And the the Saints were displaced for a season. And when they came back the following year, their first home game was in late September against Atlanta. It was a Monday night game. And Mike and I went down there. We did Mike and Mike from there. And that was the game where Steve Gleason made one of the most famous special team plays of all time.
6 of his 8 field goal attempts this year is now back to just punting and kicking off. The former Saint Morton Anderson is here for most field goals. Look out! Right through! A pick block by Steve Gleason. It is scooped and scored by Curtis DeLoach. Touchdown, New Orleans!
I've said it many times, Thomas, I've been covering sports for 30 years. I've never heard a building that loud in my entire life. When you consider everything else that was going on, with all of the emotion that was in that building that night, that block punt for a touchdown that led to an unexpected win. The Falcons were a very good team at that point. The Saints, I don't remember what the point spread was, but they definitely weren't expected to win. It's one of the most memorable moments that I've ever experienced in my time covering or watching sports. And that was where Steve Gleason first became a legend. But what he has done and accomplished since then, the difference he has made and is making since then, is obviously to be his legacy. And I think what you're doing is wonderful. So I'm proud to help you get the word out. And again, if anyone wants to be a part of it, teamgleason.org/punt for ALS. Thomas, thank you. Best of luck as you guys get your season started. I know I will be one of many who will be screaming and cheering and rooting. And good luck Monday night in San Francisco. And thanks for making the time today.
Yep, I know you're one of those longtime Jets fans, and I've come to realize in my time here that there's a lot of scars that Jets fans have and hold. So be optimistic this season and hang in there with us. It's going to be an exciting ride.
I'm with you. I mean, there is no one more with you. There is no one who would more love to celebrate and dance. Where is it this year? In New Orleans, back in New Orleans,
yes,
at the very end
is.
of the whole
yes,
thing
sir,
than I
is.
would. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you
Yes,
for doing
sir.
this.
All right. Thanks again, Greeny.
That's Thomas Morstead, the punter of the Jets. And again, Someone mentioned that to me, and look, I could have done that 20 times. I could do that 20 times today with different players around the National Football League. And maybe that's one of the things I can try and do as I get older here and with these platforms that I have, and everyone's now joking around about how many I have. Well, I have quite a few of them. And so maybe I have the opportunity to help tell a few of those good stories in the midst of all of those that are not as good.